Good morning, VC. It's Steve Whitty here again with this time volume 42 recent finds. These again mainly charity store finds, um, odd record finds, record store finds from a local store. These were purchased just before Christmas. So again, catching up with myself. So this is maybe the first of a couple of videos I'm going to put through for this coming week. I hope everything's well with you. So let's start, because I've got quite a few to show. This is Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass. This Guy's in Love with You. It's a compilation from 1970. And it's on the brown A&M label. Yes, it's got This Guy's in Love with You and Casino Royale. It's also got this version of A Little Help from My Friends. Just what it is. Yeah, it's not bad, not bad, not inoffensive. Next up, it's a Chic. Chic. This is their big album, I suspect. It's got The Freak, Want Your Love, Dance, Dance, Dance. Yeah, I suppose if any group could lay its claims to be the kings of disco, I would say Chic, particularly Nile Rodgers and Bernard Edwards. There was a period in the late 70s, early 80s where their fingerprints were on any half decent production. I still think their best work was Sheila B. Devotion's Spacer, but Nat King Cole, the best of Nat King Cole. This is on Capitol Records. Again, charity shop finding at 99 pence. It plays. This is on the orange Capitol label. So it's a 70s. It's got all this stuff. Mona Lisa. Get Your Kicks on Route 66. Rambling Rose. Unforgettable, When I Fall in Love. You know, if you're going to say the best of Nat King Cole, the sort of thing you'd expect. And I'm not a bad listen for it. A couple of singles, which I may have missed from my singles patch. Beautiful South, You Keep It All In, and Elvis Presley, Way Down. And as we're coming up this year, I suspect we're going to be awash with quite a lot of things. 40 years of punk, 50 years of Sgt. Pepper. We just passed the 50th anniversary of the Doors debut album being released. Velvet Underground, 50 years. 40 years since Elvis left the building. So yeah, we're going to be quite a few anniversaries coming up this year that we're going to be floating around. This album, Krista Berg, Spanish Train and Other Stories. It's probably one of my rockier effects. Normally I would give a wide berth to Krista Berg, primarily because of Lady in Red, and his little face then kept popping up everywhere in the 80s, and I found it quite annoying. On here you've got Spanish Train, the title track, which really is an excellent song. You've got Patricia the Stripper. That used to be played a lot on the radio, late 70s, particularly Noel Edmonds' Sunday morning show. Spaceman came travelling, obviously it was just past Christmas. That's always wheeled out at Christmas time. But it's actually some good songs on this album. And, you know, maybe, and I know there's Crusaders, another album of his. I suppose there's an element of the rock on there, and maybe because of what happened in the 80s with these softer stuff, these albums sort of get left behind a little bit. Credibility shocker. Debut album from Engelbert Humperdinck. 12 great songs plus Ripley plus Release Me, and that's the opening song on the album. And yeah, it's pretty much standard Engelbert fare. I think he sort of laid down the foundation for his career. On the back, you've got words from the executive producer, one Dick Rowe. Dick. I think the Beatles were shit. Right. It's not be said he turned down the Beatles, signed Engelbert Humperdinck. Well, I think we know where his musical tastes lie now. He did sign the Stones, I suppose. But he'll always forever be known as the man that turned down the Beatles. A couple of Billy Joel albums. Stranger. Got this for 99 pence. I suppose, really, possibly in the UK, especially his breakthrough album. Got Moving Out, Anthony's Song, Just the Way You Are, Only a Good Die Young, She's Always a Woman. It's a really, really strong album. I like seeing some Italian restaurants. Yeah, really good album, that one. And then I managed to also pick up a copy of 52nd Street as well. You got a big hit song that was My Life, and that's probably my introduction to Billy Joel, was that song, when I first really was aware of him. Yep, sort of sailing on, carried on the way of success, really. Particularly in the 70s, up to really the end of the 80s. He really had a lot of great songs, a lot of great singles. Probably in the 80s got more into the gossip columns of his marriage, but hey. Having picked up 2 albums from Howard Jones, I managed to pick up a copy of his debut album Human Leap, which I think is not as good as his second album, but but most of the good songs, big singles were on here. Ways Love, New Song. But I think it's still a good album. And I said it previously when I mentioned him, I think an underrated artist, better than what I think people remember him for. I think the early 80s were a lot of synthesised pop, and much of it was a muchness, but some of the really good stuff floats to the top. A couple of weeks ago, I picked up Cargo by Men at Work, and now managed to pick up Business as Usual, which is the big album. Initially big in the States first, it sort of floated over, Down Under became the #1 single here, and it really was their big single. Who Can It Be Now never really, I mean, might have hit the lower rate, reached the top 40. And I suppose really, all I could say is they sort of like came and they went. I think it was always going to be very difficult, particularly in America, to follow this album up. I can't remember how many copies that they sold of this album. I'm very pleased to pick this up. This is Harry Nilsson's Greatest Hits. This is a compilation album, I think, an 80s compilation. He pretty much had given up music by then. So you got Everybody's Talking, which is probably the reason I've got it. So I've already got Without You on the Schmilson album. You've also got Spaceman, Coconuts. He covers Making Whoopi and Time Go By. Maybe Love You. I think a fascinating character. And there is a documentary that always floats around on Sky Arts channel. It's worth checking out because it's a bit more complex, very complex character. Album, picked up Sad Cafe Facades, featuring the vocals of Paul Young, the other Paul Young, 2 Paul Youngs floating around, good singers at that time. Sadly, he's no longer with us, this particular Paul Young. On here, this is the big album in the UK for him. It's got Every Day Hurts, Strange Little Girl. My my favourite. I love that song. Paul Young ended up singing with Mike and Mechanics. I think they sort of split up shortly afterwards, sort of like their breakthrough. They were big in Canada, I think, and had some sort of hit success in America. And then gradually made the breakthrough in the UK, but it sort of fizzled out for them. Interesting record this is Kilimanjaro by Teardrop Explodes, and judging from the cover, this is the copy that has got Reward on featured on the album. However, when I got it out, played it. Side one. I noticed there was a track missing. I don't know if you can see, but actually the album I've got is the original release. Reward is not on the album at all. I don't know if that's anything, whether the wrong copy was put in or it was just a mistake. But you know, I've got Reward and other formats, so I'm not too upset. And if I really want it, I'm sure there's plenty of the copy of these albums floating around. I can always pick it up. Yeah, pretty much next to nothing. So good album though. This album I was pleased to pick up. This is the Temptations All Directions album. Well worn cover. But the main track, it's a Norman Whitfield production. It's on the Gordy label, not Motown. But the real reason for picking up, you've got the full 11-minute version of Papa Was a Rolling Stone. An immense song. Really pleased to pick this up. Yeah. It by far overreached everything else on this album. Everything else is just really just like singles. Yeah. Interesting times for the Temptations that period. An album that's always in the pound bins or charity shops. Tina Turner's comeback album, Private Dancer. You got Let's Stay Together, which she did with Heaven 17. A version of Help. What's Love Got to Do with It? I Can't Stand the Rain. But my favourite track's the title track's Private Dancer. Something really just sad about listening to that. It's just and the performance Tina Turner puts in. She also, because it was released in 83, 84, did a version of Bowie's 1984 on there as well. You know, a top pop 80s pop album. Coming through now, some compilations that I picked up. 20 smash disco hits, including the original soundtrack of The Bitch. One of these Jackie Collins novels turned into a film starring Sister Jane. It was the follow-up to The Stud, and it's just got your typical disco songs at the time. Olympic Runners did the title song Bitch. Got favourite ones, The Lone Ranger actually by Quantum Jump. I won't repeat the first line, the first word. It's apparently a place name in New Zealand. More disco. It's called Disco Double from K-Tel compilation, 30 original disco hits. Though I am struggling to find where disco Brother of the Man's Figaro falls into, but yeah, pretty much standard fare. You know, the charts were sort of dominated by at the end of the 70s punk new wave or disco or cod disco stuff. This one was more interesting. Pure Gold on EMI. Got here some T-Rex, Mud, Wizard. Got Cliff on there. Got Temptations with Psychedelic Shack on here as well. Yeah, it was primarily acts that were on EMI at that time. Yeah, not a bad album. It's not in the greatest condition, but you know, I was pleased to pick that up. This is an old album. You can tell it's old because it cost, when first bought, 19 shillings 11 pence. This is reggae Chartbusters, and what you got on here, you've got Jimmy Cliff, Wonderful World, Beautiful People, Israelites, Desmond Decker, Liquidator, Harry J and the All Stars. Off the football clubs in the period played that. Quite a few still play it now. Itmec, Desmond Decker, Tony Tribe's version of Red Red Wine, which UB40 used. Yeah, excellent. And finally, this is quite an interesting one. Radio 1 in 1973 did a radio thing called Story of Pop. This is an album that just sort of like accompanies it, a K-Tel album. Interesting tracks on there. You've got a shortened version of The Knife by Genesis. But you've got mainly stuff like Cream, Jimi Hendrix, Donovan, Bill Haley. It goes right the gamut from his beginnings of rock and roll to the end. So that ends this video. Feel free to comment. So hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Until next time, take care.